What's up, Raiders? TristenWulf here, and I am bringing you a little bit of news about what's heading our way the month of April. Raid has announced a new fusion event, and I want to go over this unit and what kind of fusion event it will be. Is it going to be like Fabian or different? Is this something that as a newer player you should go for, should grind for, or is this something you should maybe put a big old pass on? Before we get into that, for all of you brand new players, and all of you guys thinking about starting your adventures in Raid with me, make sure you use that QR code in the corner of the screen, or you use the link in the description of the video. You'll use that link, you'll install a new instance of Raid, use a new email address, and once you sign in on your first day, right in your inbox, you will get the legendary hero Lysanthir, who is a fantastic high elf hero for bossing. She will apply poisons. She's got one of the strongest A1 skills in the game with a 100% chance, ignore, effect resistance, HP burn, so you're guaranteed to put burns, as well as being loaded with poisons and the ability to detonate poisons. Makes her really, really good for taking out some of the harder content in the game. In addition to Lysanthir, you will also, once you hit rank 15, get Rector Drath. Rector Drath is a legendary hero in Epic Heroes clothing. She has one of the strongest heals in the game that's combined with Perfect Veil, which stealths your entire team. She can bring units back from the dead, and it's just a unit you want on your team for survivability. So you've got your powerhouse unit for bossing, and you've got your support unit to keep everyone alive. In addition to all of this, on day one, you can go into the promotional code section and enter the promo code Supreme6 and walk away with Supreme Gallic. Supreme Gallic is a orc, a DPS unit, and with Supreme Gallic, your team is now complete. You've got your AoE damage dealer who can crush through content, work great in arena, destroy things, your solid DPS unit. You've got your Soul Weaver, your healer, your support unit all rolled into one with Rector Drath to keep your team alive, and you've got your debuffer dot applier Lysanthir for bossing. So it really is a great start to Raid. You'll have all that knocked out your first day. So make sure you use that QR code, make sure you use that download link, and get started in Raid today. And as for the rest of us who have already just started or you know, maybe a month or so into it, let's talk about this new fusion event that's starting on Monday, right around the corner, starting on Monday. So the announcement was made, a new mixed fusion event. Lysanthir Beastbane is starting on April 7th. Now it's a mixed fusion event, so these are kind of brutal. The mixed fusion events, you can't really skip any of the stages. You've got to grind it all, so it's going to be a resource draining, grind intensive, logging in every day, busting your butt, using all your resources kind of a fusion event. So kind of be aware of that. If you're a little depleted like I am from the Fabian event, this event's not going to be one you're going to be able to complete unless you spend. This is one where you're going to need to have a lot of resources on hand to go into it, or be willing to swipe. So right out of the gate, if you're already drained or relatively new, low on resources, you're probably going to need to bag it unless you're okay spending a lot of money. So let's talk about Lysanthir. Lysanthir is a high elf, which is cool. I love the high elves, and they love me based on the drops. I pull more elves than anything else. He is a defense type hero with spirit affinity. The little green lightning bolts is affinity symbol. Lysanthir Beastbane is a Hydra damage dealer. Okay, specializing in countering Devour and rescuing allies. He will also benefit from some accuracy stats so he can place debuffs. So defense scaler, that's going to want to apply debuffs, primarily support, but also a damage dealer, a little bit of everything. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at his kit. Okay, so we'll start at the top, work our way down. So this is Lysanthir. Let's see, Echo Bolt. Echo Bolt attacks one enemy 2 times, so it's a double hitter, which is always nice to see on an A1 skill. The first hit has a 75% chance to place Hex debuff on the target for 2 turns, and places a 30% increased crit damage buff on the champion for 2 turns. So it's only the first hit. It's not a 75% chance with each hit, and it's single target. This is going to be a little bit clunky. He's supposed to be a Hydra unit, but it's a single target attack that places Hex, and Hydra redirects debuffs around, so you're not going to easily be able to use him to Hex the head of the Hydra that you want to Hex. Okay, so maybe it gets better. He'll give himself a 30% increased crit damage buff for 2 turns. That's nice. And the 75% chance goes up to 100% chance after you book him out, and a little bit more damage. Okay, so kind of an odd skill. The double hitter's nice. The fact that he's got a 2-hitter on his A2, let's see, a 2-hitter on his A3. So immediately my mind goes to Fire Knight, where you need lots of additional hits. So potentially he's got some use in Fire Knight as well as Hydra. Let's see if we get any better with Wily Hunter, his A2 skill. Now, Wily Hunter has a 5-turn cooldown, so it's a long-ass cooldown for an A2 skill. You're going to have to book it to get it down to a 3-turn, which will feel a lot better. Attacks the enemies and has a 20% chance of repeating the attack. Same thing can boost. Now you can't boost it, so it is just 20% chance of repeating the attack. So that's great. 20% of the time, it's going to do stupid damage because it's going to hit twice. It's going to be like you got a second turn. But 80% of the time, it's going to do absolutely nothing. It's going to feel awful, and I know how it's going to go, right? If he's on offense, it's only going to happen. You're going to be in that 80% group. And if you're on defense, it's going to happen 20% of the time, every time. Let's see. When this champion counterattacks or team-ups, dual attacks, with allies to attack an enemy, he'll use this skill instead of the default skill. That's interesting. So a counter set on him, or units that can give him a counter buff. You'll want to pair him with units that dual attack, units that team up. So he's one of those kind of units that's going to have synergy with other units that perform these skills, that give counterattack buffs or that dual attack. Damage inflicted with this skill will increase by 10% each time an ally is devoured. Stacks up to 50%. Okay, so Devour is a Hydra thing only. As far as I know, nowhere else in the game does Devour happen, and it doesn't happen very often. It'll take a while to stack this up to 50%, but once it's there, right, 50% damage boost, he's giving himself a crit damage buff off of his A1 skill. He's got 20% baked in damage into the kit once you put a book on him. This is a lot of damage. I bet he's going to hit like a freaking truck once you build this up. Let's check his A3 skill, because I really am skeptical with how long it's going to take to really ramp this up to where he's starting to do damage. Ruined snares. Ruined snares, finally an AoE hit. Attacks all enemies 2 times. That's a nice. It's a double hitter. Each hit has a 75%, each hit. So 2 75% chances of placing a 30% decreased speed and a 25% weakness debuff for 2 turns. And you can book it up to 100%. Even if you don't book it, 75% chance twice is like about a 90-ish% chance. My statistics in my head's a little off, but that's crazy. So he is basically a easy guarantee, practically a guarantee, to speed down and weaken the target for 2 turns. If a target is under a Hex debuff, we'll place these debuffs before attacking. Okay, I'm not sure what having a decreased speed on the target before attacking would do, but having a weakened debuff, that at least is going to make him do 25% more damage, right? So let's add it up again. 25% more damage from the weakened debuff, up to 50% more damage from his stacks on Wily Hunter, with 20% more damage baked into his kit, plus a crit damage buff. Here's what I think, guys. I think this guy is going to absolutely proc some stupid numbers once you get the conditions right. Okay, you're gonna need to make sure all the conditions are right, and when they are, he's gonna proc numbers like nobody else in the game. Let's look at the last little bit of his skills here. Survivalist Supreme. This is his passive skill. Will ignore life barrier and ally protection buffs. Okay, life barrier as far as I know, is a Hydra exclusive thing. You'll only find that in the Hydra fight, and he'll ignore it, and that's great. And ally protection, Hydra also does that, but you can find that outside of the game as well. Increases this champion's defense by 5% for each active buff on the champion up to 50%. Mother of God. Okay, so he is a defense scaling unit that's going to stack his defense up to 50%. So you're going to want somebody that gives him buffs, right? He's got synergy. He does great things with counterattack. So you want units that give him counterattack buff as well as other buffs. If you can stack lots of buffs, I mean, geez, you're going to have to stack 10 debuffs to stack this up to, or 10 buffs to stack this up to 50%. That's a pretty tall ask, getting 10 buffs on a unit, one of which is a counter, but you could get up to 50% increased defense on him, his damage basing skill, plus you could get stacks of damage based on the number of devours, plus he can attack twice with this, potentially doing this damage twice to Hydra. You're gonna have to hold your mouth just right to get this guy to stack up. But if you can get those conditions right, I bet this guy throws out numbers like nobody's seen before. And increases ally defenses in all battles by 28%. You know what? I'm legitimately not that excited about this. I mean, sure, it's great. I like that it's in all battles and not just in Hydra, but where else are you really going to take this guy? Maybe into faction wars, right? High Elves don't have a lot of tanky units, and the fact that he works off of defense means you can build him really tanky. For a tanky damage dealer, a good solid bruiser. You could use them in faction wars. You could maybe use them in Fire Knight because of all the double hits. Not much else here helps you out for Fire Knight, but it's double hits on every one of his skills, so maybe. So I guess the defense in all battles is nice. But man, this guy's like the pinnacle definition of niche unit. You're going to need, it's going to take a whole village to raise Lysanthir up and make him good, right? You're going to need buffers out the wazoo. You're going to need people that place Hex in order to get the Hex debuffs, and especially in, you can't rely on him to Hex the right head. So you're going to need a buffer that also, and units that can place an AoE Hex. You're going to want to have units that dual attack with him, that team up with him, so you get the extra hits. Maybe you're going to want to build him on a counterattack set. Maybe not. I'm not sure about that. And you've got to keep him alive long enough to get all of these things stacked up. And here's the thing, right? Against Hydra, I mean, we don't know his numbers yet. We don't know his mods. He could hit like a wet noodle, and you actually need to make all these things happen for him to drop a nuke. Or his mods could be really, really high, and if you make all of these things happen, it'll be like God tier screenshot it and brag to your friends level damage, which would be pretty cool. We all like seeing huge heckin' numbers. But outside of Hydra, this skill does like almost nothing, right? His Wily Hunter skill, his A2 skill is all about this last sentence, right? Damage inflicted increases when ally is devoured, but there is no devour anywhere in the game but Hydra. So all you get is a 80% chance to not do this twice, and it uses this skill with an 80% chance to not do it twice when he team up or counters, and it's just some raw damage. Again, maybe nice in faction wars, maybe nice in Fire Knight, but not really anywhere else. And the decreased speed is kind of nice, and the A1 skill is just going to ramp up his damage, letting him do more damage, but he doesn't appear like he's going to be the principal damage dealer other than in Hydra, where I think his damage could get nutty. Now, again, we have to see his mods. Maybe he's going to be broken as hell once we figure out how hard this guy hits. But right now, guys, I'm not feeling it as a new player. You're going to have to build a whole team of very specific conditions around using this guy. Now, for late and end game players, this is the kind of unit that makes them shove up some crazy, insane damage comps and blow the Hydra out of the water. But I think if you're like you know, relatively new at this game like I am, this is a really good time for you, right? Really good time, because you're going to be able to focus on farming your Minotaur and getting your masteries done. You're going to be able to focus on farming Dragon's Lair and getting some gear, fighting Spider and getting some accessories. You're going to be able to go through the campaign and level all of the probably dozens of units you have that need to be leveled. Doing all the stuff that's not this fusion. I mean, maybe enjoy a little bit of the fusion event, some of the rewards, even if you don't go super deep into it, you can get some of the rewards, right? You don't have to go all the way to the fusion fragment. You can just enjoy dipping your toes in a little bit as you're doing other stuff, and that's great. But I'm just going to say it, guys. Hard pass on this guy. Hard pass on this guy unless you're an endgame player and you are excited about pulling this guy. You've got the resources to do it. I think you don't pull on him. You work on getting your account ready. You start saving your diamonds. You start saving your shards. You start building up so that when the next fusion comes out, you are ready to knock it out of the park if it is a top tier fusion event. So let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I'd really appreciate it. Let me know if I'm on target or if I am missing a diamond in the rough and that he's really the amazing busted unit that I need on my account, because I'm not seeing it. But let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, Raiders.